Prep cooking is a must-do. So what I got going on right now is what's going to be going into the tuna casserole. So I have 1/2 of a red onion chopped in here, and then I also have about 3 cups of chopped broccoli, which the stem is a very important part in my casserole. So save as much of the stem as you can and chop that up. You can see the stems right there. Just cut the tip off where it's kind of really tough and just get as much of the stem as you can. And yeah, so I love that part of the broccoli, so we're putting it all in there. And then of course I have a clove of garlic, which I already put it in. I just put 1 clove of garlic, and you could use a garlic press if you like, but I always use this because I just have it and it's easy cleanup, so I just shred it on in there with my grate. Before I cover it, I'm gonna lightly salt this with some sea salt. And then I'm going to use some black pepper. This is done, so it doesn't take long. So what you want to do is give it a test. You want to take one of the stems of the broccoli that you have in the pan, and you just want to kind of get one of the bigger ones and just do this. And if it feels like it just easily just comes apart with your spoon, you're good to go. And then you also want your onion to look like it's a bit translucent or losing color. So right now I do have some liquid in the pan, which I'm going to use a strainer and strain it out. You're good to go. You could use a steamer if you like, but I just like to do it this way because it keeps that garlic flavor in there, and you could just kind of mix it up with the salt and pepper, and just, you know, the onion flavor, it kind of just all mixes in, and to me it gives it more taste. You don't have to use whole wheat extra wide egg noodles. You could use whatever egg noodle you like, but this, for me, it just works well. I love them. They're really good, inexpensive, budget friendly, so you know, it's all good. So this is the whole wheat extra wide noodles from Great Value. I'm gonna bring my water to a boil. I'm gonna toss them in, cook them up to where they're al dente, not fully cooked, because once again, this is a casserole, we're going to be baking it, so don't overcook them, just leave them al dente. Add my noodles in, which I'm just going to eyeball it, so this is probably going to be about 2 cups maybe. So I'm just going to squeeze half of it in. So I'm just squeezing half the bag, and I'm just going to go ahead and I think half the bag's basically about 2 cups, because it looks like it's not that much, but it's going to increase in size. You know, it's a noodle, so just go for it. If you want to make more, just double everything in the recipe and you're good to go. This is about a 1/2 cup or a little bit more of Colby Jack cheese. If you want to use extra sharp, that's good too. And for this particular casserole, I do believe those are the best cheeses you could go for. So I went with the Colby Jack, and I do have a 1/2 cup or a little bit more because I'm actually going to sprinkle in a tiny bit when I'm mixing the casserole, and then I'm going to use some to top it. So let's do this. The whole wheat egg noodles are just about done, so I'm going to go ahead and add my broccoli onion into a mixing bowl. I have my noodles here. I'm going to add them to the mixing bowl. I went ahead and gave this a mix. I'm just going to set it aside because we're going to cook our tuna steaks. We're going to lightly salt and pepper each side. See how it's changing color? It's not as pink, and it's kind of turning like a white color. I'm ready to flip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually hit it with the olive oil spray on the top, only because it's not a real fatty fish when you're cooking it this way as far as tuna, and I'm going to flip it. So it did kind of fall apart. That's okay, because we're going to break this down. We're not worried about the plating as far as making it look fancy, because this is going in a casserole. We're here for taste, baby. Give it a good sear on each side, get it golden brown, make sure it's fully cooked, and it's just going to be that much more delicious because all that texture and just crunchiness on the outside, and then what's going on the inside, when it breaks down, it's going to give your casserole just an amazing flavor. I already took my tuna, I put it in a bowl and I broke it down, so I'm just going to add that to the bowl. I'm gonna be adding some butter, not too much, and I'm gonna be using the I Cannot Believe it's not butter, the light one. You could use real butter if you like. So I'm gonna eyeball it. I'm just using a regular tablespoon, nothing fancy here. You know, use whatever utensils you have on hand, and let's go for it. So I'm just gonna eyeball it and just put probably a little bit more than a tablespoon. Use half of the cheese and use the other half for topping it when I wanna bake it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just grab some out. You don't have to measure it. Sprinkle it in. I'm gonna add in 1 can of Great Value cream of celery condensed soup. Somebody told me that these are just as good as Campbell's, so this is the first time I'm trying it, so normally I use Campbell's. And yeah, so with the broccoli, I usually use the cream of broccoli. They didn't have it, and that happens quite often as far as the cream of broccoli. So I have used cream of celery in the past. It works just as well. Instead of adding about 1/3 cup of milk, because I'm not gonna use a lot of milk or water because I want it to be creamy, I just put about maybe 1/4 cup of water in here. I'm gonna mix up the can and get the rest of this all mixed up. We're not wasting anything, and then I'm gonna dump it in the bowl. Add salt and pepper. Then we're gonna get to mixing. Spray this with some pan spray. We have our casserole mixture in the dish, and I'm gonna go ahead and top it with the cheese. I'm not gonna add any salt to the top, but I am going to lightly pepper it. This is gonna go into the oven on 350 for about 20 to 25 minutes. I'm doing mine in a toaster oven, so for the last remaining 3 to 4 minutes, I'm actually gonna put it on broil and toast it up on the top of it. The cheese is nice and melted. Everything is cooked together, and we're done. This is absolutely delicious. You're gonna love it. Try it out. And I'll see you in my next video.